There was a rich man, he said, who dressed in beautiful clothes and ate only the best foods. And there was a beggar named Lazarus who was sick and covered with sores. Because he was so poor, he had very little to eat. And his friends carried him to the rich man's gate and left him there to beg for the scraps from the rich man's table. Even the dogs seemed to pity him. For they came and licked his sores. I know, I can see that.
Does he have an owie? Does he have an owie?
That's an owl. The beggar died and was carried to heaven by the angels. He wasn't poor there, for he ate with Abraham. Then the rich man died too, but he went where the bad people go. There, being punished for his sins, he looked up and saw Abraham and Lazarus far away. "Father Abraham," he shouted, "have pity on me and send Lazarus to dip the tip of his finger in water to cool my tongue, for I am tormented in these flames." But Abraham said to him, "Remember that in your lifetime you had everything and Lazarus had nothing, but now he is happy and you are sad. Besides, there is a great gulf between us, so no one can come and help you, and you can't come to us." Then the rich man said, "Then please send Lazarus to my 5 brothers at home, to tell them to repent and obey God, so that when they die they won't come to this dreadful place." Abraham replied, "The Bible already tells them that." But the rich man said, "No, Father Abraham, that isn't enough. But if someone returns from the dead and tells them, then they will surely repent." Abraham replied, "If they won't listen to what God says to them in the Bible, they won't obey him even if someone rises from the dead." Afterwards, Jesus rose from the dead, but even so, few people listened to him. Then Jesus told a story to those who thought themselves better than others. He said, 2 men went up to the temple to pray. One was a proud Jewish leader, and the other was a cheating tax collector. The Jewish leader stood where everyone would see him and prayed, "God, thank you that I am better than other men, and especially that I am better than the bad tax collector over there. For I fast twice each week and give the church 1/10 of all I earn." But the tax collector, who knew how bad he was and was sorry for it, stood where he hoped no one would notice him and bowed his head and beat upon his breast in great sadness, saying, "God, be merciful to me, a sinner." Then Jesus said a surprising thing about the 2 men. He said that the cheating tax collector went home forgiven, while the Jewish leader didn't. "Everyone who is proud will be brought low," Jesus said, "but those who are humble and confess their sins will be honored." Once, when some mothers brought their little children to Jesus so he could put his hands on them and bless them, his disciples shooed them away. But Jesus didn't like this. "Let the little children come to me," he said. "Don't tell them not to, for little children are the kingdom of heaven." Yep. He meant that only those who are humble and loving like little children will ever get into his kingdom. When he took the children in his arms and placed his hands on them and blessed them. One day he took the 12 disciples aside and told them that the time had come to go to Jerusalem. What are you doing?
No.
And when they got there, everything the prophets had said about him would happen. He would be laughed at and whipped and spat upon and nailed to a cross and killed. Oh, right here.
Yeah.
And the 3rd day he would come back to life again. But the disciples expected him to be crowned king of all of the Jews soon, so they couldn't understand what he was talking about. You want to read more?